Hello everyone, Jensen Vars here. In this video I'm going to talk about random tables in PUM Companion, how you can use them, how you can create them, and how to take the most of them. Let's get started. To find random tables in the app, you go to the left side panel and press Tables and Cards, or Random Tables if you don't have the Cards add-on. Then you will see the list of random tables you already have. You can press Configure Tables to create your own. To get the most basic idea of them and how simple it is to use them, let's create one example by creating a new table. Let's call it Weapons Table, or Melee Weapons, better. I'm gonna explain these fields later, but to get to the basics, you simply list the entries here. For example, sword, axe, hammer, mace, spear, and I don't know, knife. Then you press save, the list is gonna show up in your list of random tables down below, and you're gonna be able to see them right away outside. So here you will see your melee weapons we just created. If you click on it, you're gonna get a random entry out of that list. As simple as that. There we have our first random table. Now let's take a look at the creation process more in detail. If I go and edit a random table, I'm gonna see other things. The basic one is a classification. This is essentially a tag that's gonna make it easier for me to find and organize multiple random tables. It's gonna show up different available tags you already used to easily match them with the rest. Then you also have an important setting called include in save. What this means is that by default, random tables are a shared resource across all of your games in your device. By pressing include in save, you're gonna make that random table specific to that game you're playing. That is useful for two things. One, to make it exclusive to that game. For example, if it's only relevant in this genre or setting or system you're playing. And second, if you share this game with others or back up your save game, it is going to include a copy of that random table in that save, making your save game more self-bundled. Next, you will have metadata. This is useful if you're sharing tables with other players of the PUM Companion app. You can here include things like author, version, and some instructions for other players to understand how to use them. Next, you have automatic formula, which is a field to introduce your own custom formula. By default, we showed and saw that random tables roll a random entry on that list. But you could, for example, write down 2d6 if your random table is rolled with 2d6. Important to know here is that implicitly, PUM Companion allocates each entry to a numerical value starting with 1. So you will want here to make sure you have a dummy entry for that never going to be rolled number 1 of a 2d6 roll. Cool, if you're following me still, let's take a look at the next powerful feature of tables, which is nested tables. Nested tables is a way to roll on more than one table in the same time. Let's assume I have this melee weapon, and then I create a new table very quickly called armor items. And then I will have melee weapons and also my armor items. Now I'm going to create a table called gear or character gear. And here I'm gonna put a single entry by using the following syntax. I open double brackets and put melee weapons, which is the name of the melee weapons table. And we add the text, and then in double brackets again, or braces, we add armor items. And that's it. This is a single entry random table, but you're gonna see how powerful this is. Now I have this character gear, and if I roll on character gear, it's going to give me one weapon and one item from the gear table. See how cool is that? With that, the possibilities are endless, but let's take a look at another possibility, which is weighted tables. This is useful typically for oracles or unbalanced tables. Let's take a look and make an example. Let's call it weighted answers. And you want to create your own oracle where the lowest roll is absolutely not, and then you say no way, and then no but. And then maybe your table is slightly biased to the no side, so you just put a yes and a for sure. What you do here for weighted tables is allocate the maximum result that you can roll for that answer. Let's say my table is a D100. I can allocate up to 30 for absolutely not, then 40 for no way, up to 60 for no but, 80 for yes, and 100 for sure. With this, PUM Companion is gonna pick up the highest number of your weighted table and roll under. If you roll 30 or less, it's gonna pick up the absolutely not answer. If you roll between 31 and 40, it's gonna roll the 40 no way answer, and so on. We can try it. As you can see, I'm gonna roll lots of no's in this weighted answers table. If you pay attention again to what I did, you will see that I used a pipe to separate the weight from the result. That's it. And yes, you can get creative and use nested tables around here as well. Make sure you're not having typos or mistakes in your table name. Alright, one thing before we move on, you can easily roll multiple tables at the same time by hold pressing click on the tables you want to roll. So I could also, instead of a nested table, could have hold clicked armor and melee and then click on any of these two, and it is going to roll both together. Now, something a bit more advanced is to roll these random tables from your own text as you write. My character finds A, and then you do double brace melee weapons. If you press enter, it's gonna randomly roll on that table and include the answer as part of your text. This is super cool for writing on random items. You can also use random or override formulas in them. My character finds A melee weapons, and then you can put double percentage symbol and a custom formula. What this is gonna do is roll that formula and match the result of that table. This is pretty advanced, but super cool. Last but not least, a super powerful feature of random tables as inline text is that you can also use them as dice or roll multiple times on the same table. This you can do like this. If you write down 2D braces melee weapons, you can roll twice on the melee weapons table. This is super useful if you are building your custom dice or rolling multiple items at once. This is only possible through the inline random table rolling. Are you with me so far? If so, remember you can use widgets if you have that add-on. For example, this one, and add a log action widget. I can also roll tables from here. I get a melee weapons, and I will be able to automate an entry from here. Oops, as you can see, I had a typo. So you can go fix it and roll again. I get a sword. The last super trick I would like to share with you is that you can also roll dice in the tables. Ammunition. And I have two entries, arrows and bolts. Then I add in front of it the expression for inline dice rolls, which I will explain more in detail in another video. But for now, remember this: double colon, 3d6, double colon. And I can copy the same thing on bolts. When I roll on this table, it's gonna add and roll this following. I found 10 bolts, or I got 11 bolts, or 13 bolts, or 9 arrows. It's super cool, right? Hey, I almost forgot. If you have the Cards Widgets add-on, you can, if you have a poker deck in play, for example, of which you can draw cards from, use that and draw cards from a random table. It's very easy. You create a table called Poker Drawer, have a single entry in there, for example, I draw, and use straight brackets like this one with the name of the deck, colon the amount of cards you want to pull. Let's say 4, and close the double bracket. Then, just like any other table, you can roll on the Poker Drawer random table and see how it's gonna pull 4 cards for you. Now, if you get super creative, and I'm sure you're gonna be creative, imagine the things we can do if you use random tables with all of these features combined. Cool, I hope this video is useful for you. If you liked it, thumbs up, like, subscribe, share and recommend PUM Companion if you're enjoying the app. This is Jensen Vars. Do share your stories, join us on Discord, and leave your comments below. Until the next one, bye bye.